It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Hey, everybody. Emily, Joey, and I had a conversation about Spoon, and naturally, afterwards, we had to talk about Miley Cyrus. We don't get too deep in the weeds in that. And of course, that leads to a conversation about Green Day. Naturally.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're making that crazy of a jump at all, because what I heard you say was she wasn't her yet, and then she finally is her, and now she's her aging into what could be even cooler potentially. I'm interested to see where Miley's career goes. But as far as Spoon goes, it's the same thing. Like, it wasn't Spoon yet, in my opinion. Those early albums, not even that they were bad at all, not even that I wouldn't listen to them, but just, you know, we're talking about making a starter pack here. That's, you know, the name of the game is deprogrammed. So
that's what they say.
So they say
that's what someone says. So yeah, it was kind of an immediate, okay, we can depart from that.
And I'm glad we did, because I hate to see. It's weird because some bands, like I said, like with Goo Goo Dolls, like, give me all that early shit. I love all that early shit. To me, that's the real Goo Goo Dolls. They just found out how to make money. And
yeah,
I can't blame them. You know, Iris hits, and you know, it is what it is. You ride that until you can't anymore. I get it, but you know, give me those early fucking Goo Goo records all fucking day. Like, but you know, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird what we allow, quotes, allow artists to do, because some bands make that switch, like Green Day. Green Day comes up an awful lot on this show. Green Day hits that switch, and you're like, but this isn't Green Day. But it is. Like, it just isn't what I want from Green Day, you know?
Yeah, no, totally got it. I mean,
it's also like Spoon. They only had a couple before they became spoony, right? Like, whereas true. I think, you know, something like Green Day, there's a lot more invested in them.
Very true.
Yeah, I feel like Green Day has a lot more had. I mean, maybe you could say this to a lesser extent about Goo Goo Dolls, but I feel like Green Day more. You know, they definitely have kind of two careers behind them with that. You know, there's definitely a not a literal halfway point, but the spiritual halfway point where they went a different direction, where they kind of went from, you know, this is what they were, and you know, their you know, punk roots obviously, to saying, okay, we're gonna be the Who now, kind of, and then after that, we're gonna lean into that even farther to the point where they're in an entirely different space now.
Yeah. So, like,
completely different space now. I
just think about when American Idiot came out, and whatever the one after that. When Warning came out, I thought that was the worst it was going to get, and I remember going, oh man, boo. And then, you know, American Idiot comes out, and I like the song American Idiot, but like the rest of the record took me years to get into, and then even further, 21st Century Heartache, or whatever the fuck it's called. I mean, again, now I enjoy it.
Might as well be called Heartache.
Yeah. And now I enjoy it, but like, because I can enjoy it for what it is. And then you see what happens, like Uno Dos Tre comes out, and then Rebel Radio or Revolution Radio or whatever the fuck that one was, is like, oh, okay. And then they go even further with whatever the most recent one was.
Don't even say it.
I know.
I mean, the conversation we're having right now, though, it's ultimately about identity, and like, to you, that wasn't Green Day, and I think, like, that's the thing about American Idiot. Obviously, I come into Green Day from a different, younger perspective. My first real exposure to Green Day was a pretty freaking awesome way to get exposed to Green Day. I got to go to the 2012 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Oh shit!
When I was way too young to do so. And it was, let's see, who was it that year? Red Hot Chili Peppers, Guns N' Roses, Beastie Boys, Faces, Donovan, Freddie King was the early influence, but Green Day was the surprise guest, and they opened the show with Letter Bomb. And this is Billy Joe right before, like immediately before MTV Breakdown Rehab happens. And so me as this like, you know, young kid getting exposed to a live Billy Joe Armstrong, just when completely not prepared for it, because, you know, I was listening to inductees before that night. You know, so they opened with Letter Bomb, and that was, you know, so my kind of way into Green Day was American Idiot, and then I kind of had an entire second adventure when I realized how beautiful Dookie is and how beautiful their earlier stuff is. And, you know, I guess for you it's the opposite way, and it's almost like for me, now that I kind of understand Green Day in its full context, it's like, you know, American Idiot was kind of a more broad musical achievement. Mm-hmm. That they happened to be the band that carried that out, and it was kind of an artistic space that they went to that, I mean, arguably I don't think they've ever gotten back to that, for both better and for worse. Mm-hmm. But you know, it was just almost like they channeled something for that.
There you go. If you'd like to hear the rest of that conversation, it's After the Fact 87. I highly recommend it, because this was really hard to clip. We were kind of all over the place, but it's a very good conversation about a band or artist and their identity. So there was definitely more on Miley Cyrus, and you should listen to that for that. And that's just one of the things you get by going to patreon.com/ohai, just an exclusive content right for your ear holes. Yeah. And also, if you'd like to hear a conversation on Spoon, it's literally the next episode on the feed, so just go forward one up.